Welcome back, everybody. This is Created Work. It's our weekly exploration of Web3 and how it can work for you and your startup. I am happy to be back and finally have my voice under full control. We have a really awesome interview coming up with our friend Anna, who's joined us. But just a little bit of bookkeeping in case you missed it. This is Created Work. We go live on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We explore topics related to Web3 and how startups, entrepreneurs, and artists can leverage it. On Wednesdays, we do have our interview series, Created Economy. I forgot. Tomorrow we have one of our guests is on from Pinterest, so feel free to tune in. That is at 2 p.m. Pacific time, I believe. And Fridays we do the news, Creative Briefs, usually on Twitter Spaces. But let's get right into it. We have an awesome panel, and our friends are here today as usual, as well as our new friend Anna, who's here to.
But I'm having some issues understanding. Oh. Could you speak up a bit?
Oh, Francine's robot is busy again.
Turning it off.
I thought we
not now, LQ.
You know, it's like the Jetsons. You need to put it outside, like on the doormat or something, right?
You know what's really cool is that this robot has gotten so much publicity from me. Just as I keep saying, shut up, LQ, every time I'm on a podcast or something. All right, I've got her off now.
Well, now, before I dive in, I need to show a little bit of what we're dealing with here. Today, we have our friend Anna joining us, and she goes by the artist name, the Banana Bruiser. I didn't make this up. This is literally what she does. And Anna, do you want to share a little bit about sort of who you are and how you got to abusing bananas?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me on today. It's lovely to be with you all. So I am an artist. By trade, I have been a social entrepreneur for my career. So working with entrepreneurs who are helping communities in different ways. And I got into this banana bruising 2 years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic. So I was locked down like many people. I was sick with suspected COVID. And I think for the second week when I was in isolation, I was feeling much better, but obviously still having to stay isolated and, you know, going a little bit crazy. And I had a banana after lunch and I had a fork and I was on the phone to a friend and I just started doodling onto the peel of the banana with the fork without thinking. And when I looked back at the banana about an hour later, I saw that where I had doodled had created very clear shapes. So by bruising the peel of the banana, I could create really clear designs. So I started to experiment and then posted a few of them online. And I remember doing a tweet where I said, you know, obviously symptom of isolation, I've started bruising bananas. Should I put one out every day? And lots of people responded and they were like, yes, the world needs banana art at a time like this. And so I've done one every single day since then. So it's been about 700 bananas. by now. And it's all done by bruising the peel. There's no ink or anything used. It's just bruising the banana.
Anna, if you are able to monetize this, I will eat my banana.
Now, let's be clear. You had clearly a bunch of artistic ability before like doing this, because you don't just accidentally make this kind of art.
Yeah, I used to draw a lot when I was a kid. I used to love to draw and did that all the time. But in adulthood, I think like many of us, sometimes we can neglect those kind of more creative things that we do for ourselves when we get busy and we start working. And I think when I started to do this, I had probably realized that I'd been missing that artistic side of myself and was very happy to reignite it. So yeah, I did have some background in drawing from when I was younger, but not as a professional artist. But this has been obviously developing my skills a lot more, having done this so regularly for the last 2 years, and has been great. I've been really enjoying that.
It's phenomenal. I mean, like
these designs are incredible. I was just looking at 5 bananas for Ukraine, but I have to tell you this, Anna, you sound like Anna Delvey on Inventing Anna.
Oh, really? Anna, is it what? That's the show that's on at the moment?
Yes, it's like the #1 show on Netflix, and it's about a woman who turns herself into who she wants to be. And I swear this banana bruising is like, okay, it's in a realm with that. Tell us how you've been able to monetize it, or have you, or Greg, don't you want me to ask?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to a degree. And it's developed in all sorts of ways that I could never have expected. But since I started doing this, gradually over the weeks and months, I was building more of a community around it. And that community is very international. I have lived in different countries and get very kind of inspired by different cultures. So one of the things that I will do is design images that are inspired by different cultures and celebrate different countries' festivals and so on. So I've built this quite international following, which has been really organic and really wonderful. And through that, I have done things like run workshops for different organizations and different charities, and corporates as well. So for corporates, it's more like team building exercises, especially work well during lockdown when people were looking for interesting kind of Zoom events,
And pretty much everyone had a banana in their house.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's a very accessible and inclusive thing to do. Most people can grab a banana. It tends to be pretty easy to find. And all you need to bruise it is a sharp implement that's not too sharp. You want like a blunt point that can bruise the banana without piercing it. So it's very accessible and it's not intimidating in the way that sometimes the art world can be. So yeah, that's been one way of generating income, is by running workshops. I've had a few commissions that I have been working on for both individuals and different organizations. And I plan to sell prints very soon as well. And then, of course, there's this NFT world, which is completely brand new to me. And I've released my very first NFT yesterday, which generated 0.35 Ethereum, which until like a few weeks ago meant nothing to me. But it's very exciting to see that that's a way that can, build a new community. And
no, you're doing it for charity, though, just to explain.
Yeah. This is for charity. So 100% of the sales and the royalties that I'm generating through this series of NFTs this week are for a charity called Nova Ukraine. So it provides humanitarian aid to the victims of the war. So yeah, these are some of the ideas so far that have taken place.
Anna, you are so adorable because you have done what people have tried to do in the world of Web3, but you've done it organically, and that is create a community. You know, you have a global community without like putting people on a whitelist and shilling your NFT. You know, you are just you've just created a community because people thought it was so hilarious, and we need things like that now. So your talent, you know, I mean, Greg was saying before the show, I can't, you know, wait to see Francine's take on this. Yeah. The ordinary take on it is, oh my God, this is Web3 to the max, you know. But when you said community, I see that the thing that's really going to end up distinguishing Web3 in the long run is going to be the creation of communities. And that's your, you know, that's your strength. That's what you actually did.
Thank you.
It's really fascinating. I mean, you know, I thought I was going to laugh at it when I first saw those bananas, but it's hard to laugh at it when you think that people from all over the world are attracted, you know, and it tells you how little, okay, I'm not saying this is little effort, but I'm saying how authentically creating a community is better than saying, hey, join my Discord, you know, and we're going to have a community.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. I think for me, the community side was really important. So just before I started to do the bananas, so just over 2 years ago, I had just moved back to London from Ethiopia. I'd been living in Ethiopia for 4 years, working there, running an NGO. And when I left, it was very hard and sad to leave because I loved it. I really loved living there. And I really felt like I don't want to disconnect from Ethiopia. I want to stay connected somehow. And completely without this being like an intentional kind of motivation, the bananas have allowed me to do that and actually to deepen my connection with Ethiopia, because I will, for example, draw bananas that bruised bananas that like celebrate Ethiopia's culture in different ways. So whether it's the festivals or whether it's something to do with, you know, art or the dress or whatever it is that's to do with their culture. And it's led to people really connecting with it and me being able to reach more people that I didn't know before in Ethiopia. And that's something that's amazing and that I could never have expected at all, but especially when we were all in lockdown and could feel more isolated than ever and disconnected from each other than ever. That was such a treat to be able to connect with people in that way.
So then, guys, can I just ask one more question before you all jump in? I mean, I'm just absolutely fascinated.
Only if you have to buy that banana.
I'll buy that banana. That's not the point. The point is, what do you like shellac them after you've made them? How do you preserve them? Do you even try to preserve them? Do you just photograph them and turn them into an NFT right away? Do you freeze them?
So much banana bread.
Yeah, I don't preserve them. So as you can imagine, I bruise the banana. So a banana will naturally oxidize and bruise over time anyway. Right. And what I do by pressing into the peel is speed up that oxidization process and make it very precise. And over time, once I've, you know, got the image to look its best, afterwards it will kind of gradually turn to black. So it doesn't last. There's actually a short window of time where it looks its best. I will take the picture then, and then I'll eat the banana. And there is there is the temptation to preserve it, and I will explore that. And if there's anybody out there who's into like preserving bananas or, you know, resin or something, that would be wonderful. Please let me know. But there is something in the ephemeral nature of this art that appeals to me because it's very much about enjoying the process and the present as I do it, being able to capture it through a photograph and sharing it, but then not holding on to it, not feeling the need to try and hold on to that, because it's about appreciating it as it is through the process.
Eating your product.
Yeah.
Get
It's
rewarded
like dog
afterwards, right?
fooding, right?
Yeah, and not wasting the food, you know. It's
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So
Getting
Anna, I'm
lots of.
actually curious. Oh, go ahead, Abhinav.
No, go for it. Go for it.
No, I was just curious around the concept of preservation. You know, I think you have, to some degree, done that with the move to NFTs to really put these in NFT land and make them available to basically anybody around the world. I guess I'm curious, how did you get from the point of making the art and then taking the photos, but then now moving to NFTs and kind of moving to that Web3 territory?
Yeah. So lots of people have kind of recommended that I get into NFTs over the course of me doing this. I haven't done it yet because partly, if I'm being really honest, I have a concern still about the environmental impact of it. So I think going forward, I'll definitely be interested to explore the proof of stake models that are less environmentally impactful. But for this kind of specific project, I saw a real opportunity to generate income for what's going on in Ukraine. And so, yeah, I felt compared to selling prints or being able to sort of raise money in a more traditional way, based on the feedback that I've had from people, I thought maybe I can generate significantly more through doing NFTs. And it feels like a good way to begin this, to try it out and give it a go.
Love it. I'm getting questions from the room here. So first of all, is the black paint or is that just the darkened banana? So the dark part of those dark bananas, is that just the banana?
It is, yeah. Good question. Yeah, so when I bruise the banana, it gradually darkens until it's fully black. So the way that I will create an image that has lots of different shades on it is I'll start by bruising the parts that I want to be the darkest first. So if you see an image on the banana where it has like a fully black background, what I'll have done is I've bruised the background first and then waited for it to go dark. And then I will work my way backwards. So you go to the next darkest parts next, and then you work your way back. And then you leave the very lightest parts without being bruised. So the kind of real sort of untouched peel of the banana comes through. And so, yeah, then you can create things that have, very sort of graded shades on it. And that's when I'll take the picture, and then over time that entire bruise will go to black. So yeah, there's no ink, there's no paint, and you can create something that looks really quite dramatic with parts of it that are really, really black, and then parts that are bright yellow. It almost looks like a light coming out of it.
I think there's definitely demand for people to watch that process. I think you've got a segue show coming up.
Nice. I've done a couple of time-lapse videos. If you go to my Instagram, it's at @banana_bruiser. So yeah, I've got a few time-lapse videos on there if you're interested, and I will definitely do more. And I think I'll do some like more of a how-to video as well. That's the kind of thing I do in my workshops as well. So yeah, lots of ways to share it with.
I imagine this is like highly therapeutic. You should sell like a membership pass to be able to watch.
And sell it an NFT membership pass.
And actually follow along, right? Like trying to do it,
That's very true. The therapeutic side of it is true. I think that's one of the reasons I've been able to keep this up so consistently, is because I find it very calming. I find it really, like, for me, it's an enjoyable, calming, quite therapeutic thing to do. It's kind of like practicing mindfulness, because you're working on something that's quite small and focused on that just for the time that you're doing.
Wow, these are awesome. These ones on your Instagram.
Thank you. Thanks.
That's amazing. Look at those. Look at Wordle. I mean, they're like amazing.
So these are the one
that one is the Ukraine one.
Yeah, so that blue and yellow, I just put the banana onto a blue background to take that. Yeah, so as I say, I create a new one every single day, and I post them all each day on my Instagram. So if you want to have a look, I mean, literally, like, that scrolls back all the way to 2 years ago. Every single banana is on there. Yeah.
What an incredible gallery.
Thank you.
And a lot of these are from Ethiopia. These are people who
So my Instagram following is very, very mixed. I think it's much more international. A lot of them are, a lot of followers are in the US and Canada, and then quite a few in Europe, also in Africa. I think Indonesia, I have quite a few followers as well. So it's really, really international, which is lovely. I enjoy that a lot. Yeah, so there's the time-lapse video of me creating the rose. I think I did that about 2 weeks ago. So you can see the process of it gradually getting darker as the bruise.
I understand this at all. It's just so complicated.
I think you should make a video and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I did actually put that one on YouTube, but I haven't really used YouTube. So I think, yeah, maybe I need to start building a community there as well.
I mean, this could be, I mean, it already is, but it could be dynamite. Look at that.
It's like tattooing almost, right? Like
it is like tattooing.
Anna, you got us all speapless here. Like I'm just blown away.
It's the biggest, yappiest bunch of people, and everyone's just
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that time lapse would be a great NFT too. Just
Yeah.
the whole process. Yeah.
Well, and even what I would even love is like a time lapse of like a custom piece, right? Like if I wanted to like make one for myself or for a gift,
yeah,
and you do the
guy's
time
face.
lapse.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I also I do commissions for individuals who would like gifts, for example, for their family members. So one of the things that's been really popular is, say, for example, it's Mother's Day coming up, and someone wants a unique bespoke banana for their mother as a gift. Like there's
Pretty soon you'll be doing dogs.
Oh, I've done dogs.
Oh.
That's the very popular commission request is dogs. I've got
You do tattoos?
I've never done tattoos. People have also recommended me to do that. For some reason, the idea scares me because I just feel like if I went wrong, I mean, the risk is high.
It's not the same as throwing.
In your head, you have to eat the person after.
Yeah, right? Exactly. The permanence is something that I'm not sure about that.
Anna, I'm also curious. Have you, given the success of this, have you thought to experiment with like other fruits that like have maybe a skin that you could do art on, or is it just stick to the banana?
I feel like I'm very loyal to the banana. I haven't tried it. I mean, yeah, I should give it a go out of curiosity, but I think the way that the peel of the banana
is unique, right? Like in this trait. Only because it is like avocado, but it just turns brown and looks like crap.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And with the banana, actually, the way that it bruises is really beautiful because it goes from yellow to orange, sort of like yellow to gold to orange to almost like a kind of pinky reddy color and brown and to black. So you can actually create like a really beautiful image within that spectrum of colors. And I'm not sure that you could achieve that so easily in other fruits, but maybe.
So, Anna,
and see, if you can bring Web3, this show is supposedly about how to bring Web3 into your company, and if you can, this is a perfect example of an unusual way, in which a creator can bring Web3 into a company, or not even a company, but just an exercise.
Well, yeah. Well, I wanted to just sorry, Anna. I just wanted to actually ask a little bit, Anna. Like, so Anna and I met through a friend of mine, Ash, who's been on the show as well.
That was going to be my next question. How did you find her?
Ash was like, "Hey, I have a friend who's an artist, and she's thinking about NFTs. Would you mind chatting with her?" And I was like, "Sure, happy to." Right, and we chatted about just sort of the landscape, options, things like that. So I was pleasantly surprised to see so quickly that you actually were able to execute it. And I was curious if you could share with us a little bit about like what you experienced in creating like your actual NFT, publishing it, and those things. Because I think there's a lot of artists out there who feel like, intimidated by the process or the idea of it. Even you had some apprehension about where do you start and and some of these pieces. So I'm curious, could you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah.
Like how you got to doing your actual NFT?
Absolutely, yeah. So like I say, I think firstly, there was very clear motivation, which made it the right time for me to do it. That was timely as well. It was time, there was an urgency to it, wanting to be able to raise money for what's going on in Ukraine and now. So it's like, okay, you can't just keep putting this off, do it. So that was the first thing. I guess I'd heard lots of things about NFTs and how it's quite simple to get it up and running, but at the same time, it's this quite like mystical world if you're not into the world of cryptocurrency and tech. I don't work in that world. So for somebody who isn't in that, it can
all
feel
the better. I'm very mad at that world now. So it's all the better that you don't.
Okay. Yeah, so it can feel a little bit like difficult to know how to navigate or how to get into. But it was very helpful talking to Ash. So Ash and I have known each other for a while, and he started to follow my Twitter recently, and I guess thought, that it had high potential to work in the NFT world. So he reached out to me. We had a chat. That was really helpful. And then you and I had a chat, Greg, as well. And that was really helpful. And so I just thought, right, I'll give this a go. Like I say, one of the kind of concerns I had was also about this sort of environmental impact. And I had all of these different questions. But I thought, given that this has a very clear social purpose in mind, I'm going to try this. And so I minted my very first NFT yesterday. The process was both like relatively easy, but also really scary. I felt like really sweaty all day because I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. I've never bought Ethereum before. If I click one button, does that mean like it's gone out to the world and I'll never be able to get it back, or I'll have lost my Ethereum? Just trying to
That's what will happen. You'll have lost your Ethereum. That's
Did you need Ethereum to mint your first piece?
Yeah. So I bought some Ethereum yesterday. I bought it onto Coinbase first, and then I transferred it onto a MetaMask wallet. By the way, all of this language meant zero to me 2 weeks ago. So I was trying to explain this to friends earlier in a WhatsApp group, and I was like reading my own message back, and I was like, oh my God, I'm speaking a language that I don't even understand myself.
We all felt that way. We have all felt that way.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club now.
Yeah. So yeah, then I uploaded the collection name. So the collection is 5 bananas for Ukraine. And each day this week, so starting from yesterday all the way through to Friday, I will be minting my banana of the day as an NFT and uploading it to that collection. All of those 5 bananas will, all of the sales and the royalties of all of the bananas, I will donate to that charity. And so each day I'm uploading the new asset, the new NFT. So I've just uploaded my second one. My first one, I got 2 bids, and the top bid was 0.35 Ethereum, which is amazing. Like, I had no idea if I was going to get anything, or, that's great. Amazing. So yeah, that's money that will now go to help the victims of the war. And who knows what's going to happen today, but yeah, that's the plan.
Today I'm going to text Kevin Rose. I'm going to tell him that he has all these funds for NFTs, and there's this unique collection for him to take a look at.
Oh,
what do you think, Greg? Should I do that?
Greg, you're on mute.
I am in a group with Kevin Rose, and I've shared a link to Anna's project to all of them already. So,
okay, never mind.
Well, 2 of you doing it is going to make it even more powerful.
I'm guaranteeing that your next NFT is not going to sell for 0.35 ETH.
Oh well, please do message him then. That would be great. Thank you so much.
How did you figure out? Because obviously you're describing all these new terms that you've learned. And I guess you had guys like Ash and Greg to help you on the journey. What were the tools that you think helped you learn the most, and kind of how did you work through that process?
So I was Googling a lot. I mean, I was just having a look around OpenSea and getting a sense of like how other people upload items and collections and stuff. YouTube helped, watching videos on YouTube. I had Ash was very good to me. He was pretty like available for questions that I had, and we had a quick call yesterday before my first one, because the first couple of times I tried to sell the NFT, it wasn't going through. And I think it was, for example, it was, oh yeah, I was trying to sell it with a timed auction, and the auction started in like half an hour's time. And I think it didn't work because the timed auction would have had to start at the time that I sold it. So little things like that I was like, didn't know what was going wrong, and he was able to help. But I can see that as you go through this process, you gather a huge amount of understanding, so that I can, next time is always easier than the last. But it's like I say, it's both kind of easier than you think it should be, but also not as intuitive as you might think either. So yeah, just a bit of trial and error, I think.
Now you can teach someone else.
Yeah.
That's
kind of what I started doing, because I started experimenting around. I mean, not with anything talented, but, I started experimenting around, and then I started teaching other people. And that's how things like Web3 become mainstream. It really is in the beginning, an each one teach one sort of thing.
Yeah. And actually, one thing I would say about the very like short insight that I've had into this space so far over the last few weeks is people are very, very collaborative, and people seem really kind of quick to support each other and offer different ideas. And I reached out to a few people yesterday who I know are active in this NFT world, and they've been really lovely, like amazing, kind of sharing it and offering little insights and stuff. So that's huge. I mean, it's all about that, really, isn't it? For collaboration helps anything go much quicker and better.
And Web3 is it bills itself as being about collaboration. But now that we're actually meeting everybody who's in it, it turns out that it really is about collaboration. I mean, it's about a lot of other things also, but the two best things I think that it's about are the ones that you mentioned: community and collaboration.
Nice. That's great.
Did you do anything in terms of, like, you obviously built a sizable community. Did you do anything intentionally? How did that come about? Was it on one platform and then you kind of took it across platform? Was it purely by sharing some art and then people found it and kind of rolled from there?
Yeah, it really was. So I started on Twitter, uploading each one every day. So that was where the original kind of community developed. And then I thought, actually, this works well for Instagram, Instagram being a picture sharing platform. So I started to upload them on Instagram, and I had my own personal one that I was adding it to. And then I realized, like, actually, I need to create a separate Banana Bruiser account for Instagram that can be really focused on just the one banana every single day. And that really kind of organically developed over months. So for the first few, I'd say for the first 6 months or so, it kind of got up to several hundreds. But then the way that it's kind of jumped up levels significantly has been through either like Instagram accounts that have big followers sharing my work. Because they've just picked it up and thought, oh, this is cool, I'll share this. Or I've had quite a lot of international press. So the Washington Post did a big feature on me last year, actually. And it's been in the BBC, it's been in Canadian news, CBC. Honestly, it's Daily Mail, like news outlets around the world have covered it over the 2 years as well. So whenever, particularly the Washington Post did a feature, that's when the followers really jumped up. So yeah, it's been pretty organic, and definitely that kind of sharing from different media platforms has helped it along.
Yeah, so consistency, I guess, is in the start, really, because you're doing it every day, and that's the kind of the thing that really got you rolling.
I think you're right. I think the fact that I do it every day is really crucial to the community, because it's not just the numbers of followers, it's about the active engagement. And there are people who I've had like the nicest things happen. So for example, there was a primary school teacher who got in contact with me a few months back, who is a teacher at a primary school in Canada. And she messaged me on Instagram privately, just saying that she was a big fan of the bananas, and she shared them with her kids every day or every week at school in the art class. And they would have discussions about the bananas, and it would, create all these interesting discussions. And I loved it. And I asked her to tell me about some of the conversations that had come about. And it was so inspiring. It really moved me. So I said, well, why don't I do a workshop for you, like free of charge? I don't want anything for it, but I could just like come into your classroom by Zoom and speak to the kids. And she was like, yeah, we'd absolutely love that. Like the kids are, big Banana Bruiser fans. So that'd be amazing. So I did a workshop with them, just before Christmas. And it was like one of the most heartwarming things ever. It was like 38 6-year-olds bruising bananas. And it was just amazing. Or I had a teacher in South Africa who sent me a picture of his class of kids, and they'd all done Banana Bruiser inspired bananas. And it's even connected me to like an old family connection that I didn't have before. And just all sorts of really incredible, quite deeply emotional things have happened through this. So it feels like the consistency of it is a big part of it. And also a lot of my bananas have social messaging attached as well. So I'll show support for different social causes, whether it's something to do with like, the health workers, like showing support for the health workers who've kept us safe during COVID, or something to do with like, I don't know, like my mind's just gone completely blank, but like different types of social causes that I will try and show support for. And I think that resonates with people as well.
I just retweeted or quote tweeted a tweet that Abhinav put up there, and I decided that since it's International Women's Day and that's trending, that I should tag it International Women's Day. So you'll probably get a lot of, weird people looking at it, which is what I wanted to happen for you. Nice. I mean, I'm so impressed by what you've done. It's like unimaginable to me.
Thank you so much. That really
okay, guys, cover your ears. No guy could have ever done this. I mean, it's just not a guy thing. You know what I mean? It's not something I would ever imagine would be part of a man's artistic portfolio.
Arnold was bruising grapes for 10 years before this. What are you talking about?
Well, to be clear, Francine, I've got half of the process. I can eat the banana. I've got that part.
It's interesting though. I think
I can buy the banana.
Because I have the artistic alias Banana Bruiser. So on my Instagram, my name is Banana Bruiser, and I don't like make myself present on it. People quite often assume that I'm a guy because of the name Bruiser. Yeah. So it's always interesting when they find out that who I am, and they're like, "What?" But I really appreciate what you say because this is something that I do.
I'm giving you talking points as you attempt to become world famous, which you already are. You can use some of these talking points.
It's very nice. It's something that I do on my own, in my flat, and I do it for myself. But like the fact that it resonates with people in the way that it does is incredible. And most of the feedback I get is online. Obviously, it's through people's likes and comments on Instagram or Twitter. But still, for some reason, it's hard to like connect that in my mind with real people. So when you say that to me, it's still like a really lovely surprise, and it just it's really, really, really amazing to hear. So I do appreciate that.
Because you think that social media isn't real, right?
It's more that it's like it's somebody last week who I saw in person, who I'd never met before, told me that they were a real fan of my work and like started telling me about the different bananas that he liked the most. And I was like, what? Like,
Wait, how did he know it was you?
So it happened a few times. The first time was at a comedy stand-up show, and the comedian kind of looked over in our general direction and said, "Oh, you guys look like artists." And then my friend pointed at me and said, "Yeah, she bruises bananas." And the comedian was like, "It's not that kind of show. We don't want to hear that." And then the guy next to me, who was the one who said it, was like, "Are you the banana bruiser?" So I hadn't met him before, but he just was like, "Are you the banana bruiser?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I assumed that he knew about me through my friend, but he was like, no, I've been following you for ages and I'm a big fan. And it was really surreal, but it was really amazing. It's really amazing. But I also wanted to just come back to one of the things you said before, Francine, about like the hilarity of it. And it is true. There's something like really absurd, right, about like bruising bananas. And I think that's something that draws me to it as well, is like there is something really ludicrous about what I'm doing, but there's something that's also quite deep about it, because like it connects and it is able to, you know, send out a social message, and it's able to invite people into a different way of being creative, and I like that mixture of the things. And I generally don't take myself too seriously anyway, so like the ridiculousness of it is something that I take a lot of joy from. So it's really nice to see your reaction, actually.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm all over this. I just think it. But there's a woman-led project, and Greg will remember this. There's a women. I support a lot of women-led projects for obvious reasons, and there's a woman-led project from about 6 months ago called the Dick 2 Club, and it's NFTs of dicks on Solana.
We can't have one episode without talking about dicks.
Okay, I'm sorry. I bought a whole bunch of them, and because they were Solana and not Ethereum, I lost them.
Oh,
I couldn't find them in my wallet. So there was, you know, one show where I was saying that I lost my dicks, and I couldn't find my dicks.
that's genius.
Well, you know, my first thought when Anna and I chatted, I was like, you've got to do a collab like with some of the projects, right?
With the Dick 2 project, right?
Maybe not.
I mean, that is a perfect match in many ways. Like,
Right.
I introduced you to. Did I introduce you to Bay Apes? Was that one of the ones I introduced you to?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. I've been making intros because I'm like, where's Banana a good fit? Like, and I'll make an intro again. But there are a lot of awesome women-led projects in particular. But I think like in general, there are great projects that are out there. And yeah, I do think collabs are just another way. When Anna and I chatted, I just thought like strategically, you know, if you're new to this space, part of the way to do it is like locking arms with other folks, right? And so, you know, we see so many of these overlap projects where there's giveaways for one NFT from one project, you know, as what it does is help create awareness, and sort of we're creating a mesh of like, I saw today there was like an alliance of like 95 of the women-led projects all together, right? Like, and there was another project came out today called, I forgot the name of it, but it's like a passport to like all of a whole collection of women-led projects as well. And it's not like that.
You better tell me that, Greg, when you remember it, you better tell me.
Okay. Oh, it's called Surge. Fanzo and I were in a space and they mentioned it. But yeah, you know, and it's not that there aren't, I just think I'm the same as Francine. Like I basically only buy women-led projects now. I don't really buy NFTs that aren't led by women, because like I just want to see more women succeed, and the gap is still like 95.5 or something insane like that. And every women-led project is actually embracing and supporting more women getting into the space.
Right.
Versus like all the other ones, which are just doing like, you know, not necessarily bad things, but a lot of them tend to be more in the cash grab arena, and don't have like an underlying mission.
Whereas, of course, the way that women differ from men is that women are more collaborative, and they do want to help, and they do, you know, so the women-led projects are, to me, way more interesting in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And way more original, you know.
I'd
love to
more charity
in the space.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I look at all my women lab products. I look at just investing in charity. Like I don't actually look for a return. I don't worry about selling them. I don't worry about like any of the upside on it. It's just like great. Let's hope they do more, right? Like that's all I really care about. I bought 6 more, I think, this week already.
Nice.
In the dip. I'm gonna buy one of yours, but like wrapping ETH is such an enormous pain in the ass.
That's my problem. That is my problem.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
All right. So the way that they do it is that when you make a bid, they don't actually take actual ETH. They actually wrap it, which is basically like a placeholder for the ETH itself. But then you have to unwrap it if you don't get your money back. And it ends up costing you money on the way in and the way out. Right?
Is that why it says WE? So WETH.
Yes. W is usually you see that designation like a W in front of something is like it's wrapped. Basically, it's like a placeholder for it. You end up in this junk spot where you end up with like wrapped ETH, which gets locked up. And sometimes if you don't have enough money, I had for a while, I had wrapped ETH in my wallet that I couldn't change because I didn't have enough other ETH in my wallet to like unwrap.
Right. That happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
So would you suggest it's better to do not an auction then, to just have like a fixed price? Or
if you do a fixed price, then any auction they wrap it by default. They won't hold the ETH, right? But I think if you do a fixed price, you can sell it for like a static amount. But you give you the maximal opportunity. So like, I like the model you're doing because you're raising money for charity. And I've seen many artists do auction-based things, but I think I've seen them done in normal ETH. I'm not sure how you get to choose not wrapping ETH or not.
I think it is what you're saying, Anna. It is, if you choose auction, it has to be wrapped ETH. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only option that came up once
Next week, when you're an expert, now that you've learned, you can put your NFT on a different blockchain where the fees aren't. ETH is such a rip. I mean, it's a rip for not so much the artist, but it's really a rip for buyer and seller. Well, I guess that does make it a rip for the artist. It's just so expensive. And when it was the only game in town, we all had to deal with it. And I had lost so much money just transactionally.
Oh, wow.
You know, just like, oh, I have to change this coin to this coin. I have to buy this or sell this. And everything has such high transaction fees.
So which blockchain would you recommend?
That was my question.
Oh, good question, actually. Relative to that, Anna is very interested in finding a green blockchain or a carbon neutral blockchain. Any recommendations in that arena as well?
They have them. I haven't looked that up, but I can look it up right now. Talk among yourselves.
I think, Anna, you nailed it when you said up front, proof of stake versus proof of work. That's the primary difference. Yeah. ETH currently is proof of work, so that's what makes it more energy intensive. So anything else that's proof of work would be a long way for better than that. Solana would be the one that comes to mind most quickly. I don't know, Francine, have you bought any other ones? Where else would you be buying NFTs?
Cardano.
Oh, yeah.
And even let's see.
There are actual
Go Green, but I haven't bought anything on there. But even Polygon is cheaper. It's not more environmental though.
And Solana is proof of stake or?
Proof of stake.
Well, even Ethereum is proof of stake now, but it didn't end.
But it's not rolled out yet.
It's not done yet. Yeah.
Is that going to be happening soon? I heard it was potentially quite soon.
It's been soon for 10 years.
Potentially, we don't know. Nobody knows. They've been saying it for.
Supposedly it's this year.
Yeah.
I guess it's a big task, isn't it, to shift it over?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they forked Ethereum when everyone got robbed that time also, so they can do things fast if they need to.
Right. Need to pressure.
Why would I give up my mining fees, my gas fees, if I didn't have to? I mean, it's like moving off the oil-based economy.
Yeah.
Somebody loses, and it's the oil company. And Ethereum, it's the miners.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as a place where, as an artist, choosing where to go, ETH is the default choice because that is where most of the money is, right? And it's moving, and Solana's getting good traction, especially around NFTs. But ETH currently is, if you chose ETH, it would not be a bad decision, right? So, and then it's okay if you go elsewhere, then you have to see, where do I want to go? Where are NFTs getting traction? Where am I happy that, it's an environmentally friendly chain? But ETH is the default currently.
Yeah. So I think like one of the to some degree there's a supply demand thing here, but the reality is that the blocks continue to get processed kind of no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. So to some degree, this is sort of like, when some folks make the argument, like, don't buy this thing because that'll so lower the demand for it. With blockchains, they're being computed, like regardless of you putting something on it, like it's going to be computed. Right. So there's sometimes a little bit of an exaggeration of sort of the environmental impact. Not that there isn't a negative one. Obviously, we're using energy and whatnot, but that train is moving kind of regardless, right? So I think like there are ways to do it that are both environmentally more friendly, right? Because like the underlying technology, like L1, is different. Right. Or they stake, or they tend to be more centralized too, to some degree, right? Because sometimes they put them into like data centers that only use like renewable energies and things like that. Right. The other way to do it is to use like an L2, which has different constraints or benefits, I guess, right? Some of them may be more beneficial to like your end users, right? Because they can purchase for lower gas. Like Polygon is a good L2 on top of like Ethereum, so you still get to use and leverage the Ethereum network, except it's actually like on top of it. Doesn't have the same with gas that we have in Ethereum. It's about
the energy problem, I think, in some ways is specious. Because it used to be true of Bitcoin mining that it used a lot of energy. And the Bitcoin miners are people who are very innovative. And so they found ways of mining Bitcoin that didn't use that much energy. They either switched to low energy locations, or they started mining it in deserts and, in the Arctic Circle, places like that. And then they went to renewable fuels. And so most of Bitcoin, and I can't say this about ETH, I don't know if it's true, but Bitcoin became such a big investment and so many people cared about it so much, that they found alternative energy sources to lower the environmental impact.
Yeah, it feels like this is something that's happening, like you say, anyway. And so, the better thing is probably to try and encourage the exploration of these new ways of doing things that are greener.
I think your best bet, honestly, in my point of view, is actually build an audience on one and then move an audience to another one, right? Because that's the power you have, right? If you take that community you have that's engaged and you onboard them, and then you say, great, now that I have your attention, all my further actions are going to happen over here.
Yeah.
Like what I found, at least, is that most people in Web3 are fairly amenable to moving to whatever it takes to get the transaction done, right? Like, and they will jump through whatever ridiculous hoops it takes and figure it out. And so I think like if you can build an audience in sort of the Ethereum ecosystem, you've got already people who now grokked like the hard part, probably, right? If you say, great, I'm going to do the rest of my stuff on Near Protocol or on Flow or on something else, folks will follow you because they love your art now, right? Like, versus like, if you put too much friction sometimes up front, it's harmful in building the community that you're trying to build to then get the leverage to actually get people to do and act in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it can go, for sure.
So are we. I mean, we come back week after week and it's gone somewhere else. Seriously, it is the fastest moving space that I think I've ever been in.
Yeah. How did you get into this?
No, I'm an early adopter and I just wanted to know what it was. I always stick my toe into something and find out, how it works. And I actually, ended up meeting a lot of people that I really liked, re-meeting friends of mine from 10, 15 years ago who were in the social media space then, and they're now in the Web3 space. And just becoming interested in what the possibilities are. And I went really way down the rabbit hole, and I've come back out in the sense that I'm more realistic than I was a year ago after all the learning. The first way it was sold to us all was that every creator will now be able to earn a living through their art via, either social tokens or NFTs or, name your Web3 tool. And that really isn't true, but some can.
Yeah.
Some can. And and mostly they can if they are also community builders. And that is really the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, I think, is that in Web 3, you own your community. And in Web 2, Twitter owned it, or Facebook owned it, or Instagram owned it.
Yeah, it is amazing being able to create something out of nothing. Like, I think that's where that surprise that I feel comes from when I connect with people, especially in real life, where they feed back to me and they're excited, is like, that's created out of something that I just started in my bedroom, and through Web3. I think I understand what Web3 is, by the way. It's able to like connect with people, around the world that you would never be able to previously. That's pretty amazing.
So do you live in London now?
Yeah.
What part of London? I'm asking because my daughter lives in Barnes.
Okay, I'm in East London, so I'm
an hour and a half away.
Pretty far away from that. London is huge. But I mean, I've always moved around and lived in different places, so it also feels very natural for me to like be able to connect with very international communities with very different types of people. That's part of the fun of this.
Well, I'm going to WhatsApp this video of this stream to my grandson, who's 13, because I think it's going to boggle his mind to even think about bruising bananas as a way to earn a living.
We are all just about at time. And so I did want to say a quick thank you to Anna for we were planning to have a different talk, but I was like, Anna's project's going on right now. I wonder if we could get her to come join us today. And she gracefully made the time. So I'm very happy to have you here. I'm glad we got to put some eyeballs on the project. I know it's going to sell out because Francine's going to buy all of them.
I won't get to them. By the time I buy and wrap my ETH, some Kevin Rose type of guy who already has a wallet full of wrapped ETH just waiting.
Well, thank you as well, Greg. Thank you for inviting me. And it's really great to meet all of you. Thanks for giving me the time. I'm very appreciative.
Well, congrats on the journey, and we welcome you to come back and share, anything, updates that you have as things move forward. This is exactly what we're hoping to show people, though, is that, you can be involved in Web3. It is not impossible. It requires some imagination, some creativity, a little bit of patience, and a whole lot of hustle to get the word out. And so I'm really grateful that you're here with us today. We're going to sell these out. I'm going to let Ash's offer sit so that tomorrow I can bid, so that we know at least everyone has an offer on it.
Oh, is that who made the offer that's up there? Okay.
Well, Ash lost yesterday. I was going to go bid yesterday, and then Ash's offer got beat by somebody else. So he put in a lowball offer because I know he's ready to spend more. on it, but I think he's waiting, and I think he's playing a little strategy game there this time.
Oof, it's nerve-wracking. It really is nerve-wracking, I have to say. Like,
it's like the old school eBay auction days, right? Like when you're like, oh man, like some jerk comes along in the last 5 seconds and like bids you out.
Right.
For me, I'm just like, oh my God, please, can someone bid something?
We will make sure they sell out. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
People will bid. Do not worry. They will all sell out.
All right, my friends. Great to see you all today. And thanks again for being here. And we will see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.